They say time heals everything. I used to believe that. Now, time feels more like a prison one I can't break free from, no matter how hard I scream inside. My name is Ayan, and I've lived the last 3 years stuck in the same week. 7 days, looping again and again like some sick joke. At first I thought I was losing my mind. Then I realized someone else was pulling the strings. And that someone was my girlfriend, Zara. We were inseparable, once one of those couples people looked at and said, "You two are meant to be." I believed it. I believed in her. But love has a strange way of turning sour when secrets start to bleed through the smiles. It started with tiny glitches déjà vu moments, like knowing what psalm would play next, or predicting a conversation word for word. But it grew worse. People died and came back. Streets exploded, then didn't. My memory stayed, but the world reset. And all the while, Zara looked more tired, more distant, until the day I found out why. She wasn't saving me. She wasn't even trying to. She was sating someone else. A man I didn't even know existed. Someone who mattered more to her than I ever did. I'm telling this story now not because I made it out, but because I'm still here. Trapped in time's loop, a ghost in a game I didn't agree to play. I don't know if anyone will ever hear this, but if they do know this, love can be a lie. And sometimes, the people who swear they'd do anything for you already did it all for someone else, and left you behind. Zara wasn't just my girlfriend, she was the sun around which my world revolved. We met during our 3rd year at university, both majoring in quantum physics. I still remember the first time I saw her standing in front of the lecture hall whiteboard, arguing with the professor about paradoxes like she'd invented them. She had this fire like the universe itself bent a little closer just to hear her speak. I was the quiet one, the observer. I never believed in fate until Zara looked at me with those midnight eyes and smiled like I'd been part of her plan all along. She was brilliant top of the class, confident, fearless, but there was something underneath the surface. A kind of urgency in her eyes, even in calm moments. Like she was running out of time, always. We moved in together after graduation, got jobs at the same research lab. Everyone called us the golden couple brains, beauty and ambition. I thought we were unstoppable, but I was wrong. There was always something she wouldn't talk about. She'd disappear for hours with no explanation. She had a locked drawer in her desk she never let me near. And then there was the name I found in her journal once, Ryan. I asked her who he was. She smiled, said he was no one. I believed her. That was my first mistake. Rian, now I know. He was everything to her. A man from her past or maybe her future. I don't even know anymore. Time's messy like that. There was also Dr. Farouk, our mentor in the lab, a pioneer in temporal mechanics. He took a special interest in Zara's research, called her his legacy project. At the time, I thought it was favoritism. Now I suspect he knew more than I ever did. Maybe he helped her build at that cursed device she never told me about. And me? I was the loyal one, the fool. The man who made her coffee every morning, who believed love meant full transparency. While she was rewriting time like a god, I was left blind, trusting her with my soul. There were signs, of course. Nights she'd cry in her sleep. A scar on her wrist that wasn't there the day before. And the way she'd flinch every time she heard sirens like she'd seen this moment go horribly wrong before. Maybe she had. Maybe she saw it 100 times. 1,000. I didn't know it then, but I was already caught in a loop. A pawn. A backup character in a story that wasn't mine. Now, every second of peace we shared feels false. Every kiss she gave me a lie, borrowed from another timeline. And worst of all, she never told me I'd be the one left behind. It happened on a Tuesday. We were in the lab, just the two of us. Zara had bags under her eyes like she hadn't slept in days, and she kept looking over her shoulder like someone was watching. I asked her if everything was okay. She smiled and said, almost. Then she kissed me harder than usual, like she was trying to remember the shape of my lips. I'll be gone for a bit, she whispered. Just don't go into the restricted wing, okay? She walked out. leaving me with that strange warning buzzing in my ears. I waited. Hours passed. Night fell. And when I couldn't take it anymore, I did exactly what she asked me not to. I followed her trail into the restricted wing of the lab. I shouldn't have. But love makes you curious, desperate, stupid. That's where I saw it for the first time. The time engine. It looked like a gyroscope wrapped in obsidian light, humming with unnatural energy. Zara stood at its center, fingers flying over the control pad. Her face was pale, tears running down her cheeks. She was muttering numbers coordinates, maybe and one name, over and over. Rian. 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 Then the machine roared, and the world folded in on itself. I felt my bones stretch, snap, rearrange. The floor dissolved beneath me, the walls shimmered, and the scream I let out never finished. Then, everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was back in bed. Tuesday morning again. Same sunlight, same sound of coffee brewing in the kitchen. Same text from Zara on my phone. Hey love, big day at the lab. Wish me luck. I thought it was déjà vu. But then, it happened again, and again. The same Tuesday on repeat. That's when I knew. Zara had activated the machine. She had reversed time. And somehow, she left me stuck inside it. But she wasn't doing it for me. She was doing it for someone else. At first, I thought I was imagining things. Maybe I just dreamed that night in the lab, maybe. The stress, the late nights. Zara's emotional distance had finally pushed me to hallucinations. But by the fifth reset, I stopped denying it. It was always the same Tuesday. Always. Zara would wake up early, kiss my forehead, and tell me she had a presentation with Dr. Farouk. I'd go to the lab later, watch her disappear into the restricted wing, and somehow I'd get pulled back into the same morning again. Same weather, same news stories, same spilled coffee on my shirt. It was like the universe itself had a script, and I was stuck in the first act forever. I started testing the loop. I'd mark my arm with a pen before going to bed. When I woke up, clean. I write messages to myself on the bathroom mirror. Gone. I even tried destroying the lab once, set the trash bin on fire. Watched the sprinklers rain down like a failed baptism. Still, I woke up in bed the next day, dry as ever. But the worst part wasn't the loop. It was Zara. Every reset, she grew a little colder. A little more distant. Like she was slowly forgetting me or maybe just moving past me. Each kiss felt rehearsed. Each glance was hollow. One day, I broke. I confronted her. Where do you go every Tuesday afternoon? She blinked, her face unreadable. Ayan, not this again. You've said that before, I snapped. Exactly like that. And the day ends the same way. I always wake up here, the same goddamn day. She looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time, and maybe, in that version of the timeline, she was. Her mouth trembled, but then she steadied herself. Please, Ayan, let this go. Let what go? Let what go? I shouted. Reality? My sanity? You're resetting the week. You're doing something in that lab, something that's trapping me, and I need to know why. She paused. Her eyes, those eyes that once softened every storm in my life, turned sharp. I'm fixing something, she whispered. Something I lost. I won't stop until I get it right. I felt my stomach twist. Who is Rian? She flinched. I had never said that name before in this version of the week. She tried to cover it up, but it was there, the panic, the guilt. Like I yanked the curtain off a secret she thought I'd never see. He's dead, isn't he? I pressed. You're trying to bring him back. All of this, all these resets there for him. Her silence was the only answer I needed. That night, I drank myself into numbness, hoping blackout would save me from another reset. It didn't. I woke up again, in the same bed, to the same sun, same birdsong, same betrayal stuck in my throat. I tried everything after that. Escaping the city, hiding in the mountains, confessing my love all over again. Screaming at her, begging her, hurting myself. Nothing changed. I always came back here. Tuesday. Her kiss. The lie. And over time I realized something even more horrifying. I wasn't just caught in the loop. I was aging. My stubble grew thicker. My body ached more. But the world stayed frozen. Zara didn't notice she was still the same each reset. Like she was anchored, protected. But me? I was unraveling. Decaying. I began tracking the loops. 97. 152. 200. 500. I carved each tally into the wall of my mind. By the 600th loop, I had memorized every single second of that Tuesday. Every traffic light. Every word from every mouth. I stopped pretending to live. I stopped pretending I still loved her. But I never stopped watching. Because one day, I caught her whispering to Dr. Farouk. She thought I wasn't there. "We're getting close," she said. "This next reset will be 998. I think it's enough." "Zara," Farouk warned, "your body can't keep taking this. You've fractured your mind already. Your blood work ah." "I don't care," she said, voice shaking. "I'll go to 999 if I have to. I'll die if it means saving him." And right then, I knew she would never stop. Not for me. Not even for herself. And that meant one thing. I had to stop her. I stood outside the restricted wing, waiting. I knew every second of her route, every turn of her key code. I timed it down to the heartbeat. This time, I wasn't going to confront her. I was going to follow her all the way inside. I slipped through the doors just as they closed behind her. She didn't notice. She was too focused, her fingers trembling as she typed in a complex sequence into the time engine's control panel. A sequence I'd seen her enter 100 times but never understood until now. The numbers weren't coordinates. They were dates. The same day, April 3rd, 3 years ago. The day Rian died. I crept closer. Staying hidden behind the server banks, I watched the screen as it lit up, displaying a recorded memory. A car accident. Blood. Screams. Zara kneeling beside a dying man's body, sobbing his name. And then something else flickered into void detail I had never noticed before. In the background of the footage was me, standing by the wreckage, unharmed, watching. I felt the floor vanish beneath me. I was there that day. She never told me. She never said I was part of Rian's death. But I must have been. Why else would I be there? Why else would she keep resetting? This wasn't just about saving Rian. This was about erasing me from that memory, fixing whatever role I played in destroying her world. Zara wasn't just reversing time to save someone. She was rewriting it to make sure I disappeared from it. And maybe she already had. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I lay there in bed beside her, pretending to breathe steady, while my mind raced through everything I had just discovered. I had been there the day Rian died. Somehow, in some forgotten version of reality, I had witnessed or even caused the event that shattered Zara's soul. And she'd been trying to fix it ever since. But the worst part? She never told me. Not once. Not in all these loops. Not when we first fell in love. Not even when she started tearing time apart at its seams. She let me suffer through hundreds of resets, watching me break, watching me age, while she clung to the idea of someone who was already gone. I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her mistake. That morning, I didn't go to the lab. I went to Dr. Farouk's house. He didn't recognize me, of course. For him, every loop reset the slate. But I'd memorized his security code weeks ago. I waited until he stepped outside for his morning walk, and I slipped in, heading straight to his study. I found his hidden notes pages and pages of scribbled math, formulas warped with grief and desperation. He tried to talk Zara out of it. I could see that now. But he had loved her like a daughter, and in the end, he helped her anyway. In one file, dated almost a year into the loops, he wrote, "She's close. But Ayan remains the anomaly. No matter how far back she goes, he always appears, always alters the outcome. She doesn't see it yet, but he might be the key." I dropped the folder. I wasn't the accident. I was the constant. The variable she couldn't remove. That's why she hated me now. Not just because I failed to save Ryan, but because I was the living reminder that she couldn't control everything, not even time itself. That afternoon, I went to the lab and waited. I knew what time she'd arrive. I knew what she'd wear, what excuse she'd give to the staff, how she'd disappear into the restricted wing like a ghost. I knew the precise second the machine would spin to life. But this time, I didn't hide. I walked straight into the chamber, past the warnings, past the heat and hum, right to her side. She jumped when she saw me, guilt flashing across her face like lightning. "You're not supposed to be here," she said. "I've never left," I replied. She opened her mouth, but I raised a hand. "No more lies, Zara. I know about April 3rd. I saw the recording. I was there, wasn't I?" She swallowed hard. Her fingers twitched at her sides. "You were," she whispered. I waited. She didn't elaborate. "You're trying to undo that day," I said. "Trying to bring him back. But I'm always there. That's why it never works." Her eyes welled, and for a moment, I saw the girl I fell in love with. The one who whispered constellations into my ear and laughed like gravity didn't apply to her. "I thought I could fix it," she said. "I thought if I just tried enough times I could create a version where he lives and you never get involved. But I always do." She nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I loved you, Ayan," she said. "I did. But Rien, he saved me long before you ever knew I existed. I made a promise, and I can't break it, even if it breaks you." It did break me. Right then, something inside me shattered so completely, I wasn't sure I'd ever be whole again. "You never gave me a choice," I said. "You rewrote the world and kept me in the background like some static image. You didn't even ask if I wanted to remember." "I was trying to protect you," she whispered. "No," I said. "You were trying to erase me." She didn't deny it. I took a deep breath. "So what happens after loop 999? Do you keep going? Until your body gives out? Until the machine collapses the timeline?" She looked down. "No. After 999, the system destabilizes. The loop becomes permanent." Meaning? I get to live in the timeline I choose. The final one. The one where he lives. And what happens to me? She said nothing. I stepped back. "You've already picked, haven't you?" She nodded once. "Loop 999 is tomorrow." I stared at her, heart pounding. "You're going to lock me in a world where I never existed." Her lip trembled. "I'm sorry." I turned and walked away before I said something unforgivable. That night, I sat alone on the rooftop of our apartment, watching the stars Zara once taught me to name. The air was still. The loop would reset soon. Just one more left. One more Tuesday before she made her choice real. But I wasn't going to let her end my story. Not without a fight. The final Tuesday. I woke up before dawn. For once, the morning didn't feel like a curse, it felt like a countdown. I knew this was it. Either I acted now, or I disappear from her world forever. No more resets. No more second chances. She was already gone by the time I got to the lab. Dr. Farouk saw me pass and tried to stop me, but I didn't even look at him. I stormed into the restricted wing like a man possessed. Zara was standing at the console, her hands trembling over the final command sequence. The time engine spun wildly behind her, pulsing like a heart on the edge of cardiac arrest. She turned when she heard me, surprised, but not afraid. "You shouldn't be here," she said quietly. "I've always been here," I replied. "Every single time. You just refused to see me." She exhaled sharply. "It's too late. The timeline's already stabilizing. I can't stop it now." "Then don't stop it," I said. "Change it." Her expression hardened. "You don't understand, Ayan. I've run this loop 998 times. I've bled, I've died, I've gone insane trying to get him back. This version works. Ryan lives. It's the only one where he survives. And I. Don't. Don't. Her silence was louder than any scream. I stepped forward, shaking now, voice rising. You talk about saving him like it's love. But what kind of love needs to erase someone else to exist? I loved you, Zara. Even when I was unraveling. Even when I forgot my own age. I kept loving you. Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't stop typing. Don't make this harder than it already is, she said. You were never meant to be in that moment, Ayan. You were a variable I didn't account for. A mistake. My heart cracked. I was never a mistake, I growled. You just stopped choosing me. She didn't look up. This isn't about you. No, I snapped. It's about control. You couldn't accept loss, so you broke the world to fix it. You want to play God? Fine. But gods don't get to pretend they're doing it for love. The machine behind her searchlights blinding, energy pulsing so hard the floor trembled. The countdown on the console blinked. 000018. 18 seconds until the loop locked in. I lunged forward. She tried to stop me, but I shoved her aside and reached for the core stabilizer. She screamed, "Don't! If you interrupt the sequence, it'll collapse everything. You could kill us both." Then we die, I said. But I won't let you build a life on a grave you buried me in. She stared at me, breath ragged, her whole body shaking. I love him. I loved you, I said. But love doesn't survive on memory alone. It has to live. It has to change. It has to hurt sometimes. She looked at the screen. Then at me. Her hands trembled, and then she did something I'll never forget. She turned the system off. Not a shutdown. A kill switch. The engine's hum collapsed in on itself. A scream of rupturing metal echoed through the chamber, followed by silence so pure it made my ears ring. We both fell to the ground as the light vanished. The reset didn't happen. I lay there on the cold floor, chest heaving, staring at the ceiling as if the stars might crawl back into my vision. She crawled toward me, her face pale, blood dripping from her nose. The shutdown had taken its toll. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I thought I could fix it. I thought I had the right." "You didn't," I said softly. "But neither did I for forgiving you so easily." We sat there, broken pieces of people we once were. No more loops. No more chances. Just one final day. She looked at me, really looked at me, and asked, "What now?" I didn't answer, because I didn't know. The morning after the loop broke was the quietest day I'd ever lived. No static in the air. No rewinding clocks. Just the steady passage of time, minute by minute, hour by hour, like the universe was finally breathing again. Zara and I didn't speak much. We didn't need to. Something between us had snapped cans, something else had finally settled. The time engine was gone. Beyond repair. The lab sealed it off immediately, claiming a massive energy failure. Dr. Farouk disappeared soon after, his name erased from every record like he had never existed. Maybe he preferred it that way. After all, he was the architect of 1,000 near realities. And me? I stayed. Not with Zarobit near her. We moved into different apartments, worked in different departments, but we saw each other sometimes. At seminars. In the coffee shop around the corner. She never looked away, and I never pretended I didn't still feel something. But we both knew we couldn't go back. We'd used up all our second chances. Burned through every version of us the universe allowed. I aged again. Properly this time. And when my hair started graying at the temples, I smiled instead of panicked. Because it meant time was moving forward, and I was still in it. Zara never tried to explain what rewound meant to her after that day. And I never asked. I think we both understood some loves never really die. They just warp into something else. Duty, obsession, redemption. She told me once, in a whisper over a half-empty glass of wine, "I think part of me hoped you'd stop me. That you'd hate me enough to walk away, but love me enough to try. I had. And maybe that was what saved us not as lovers, but as survivors. Sometimes I wonder what happened in those other loops. Did she ever succeed? Did she ever build the perfect timeline? Was there a version of me that died in peace? unaware of the resets. Or a version where she chose me, truly chose me, and let Rian go? I'll never know. That's the cost of time. It never gives you answers. Only moments. Fleeting, brutal, beautiful moments. But I do know this. We cannot love people so much that we erase them. We cannot grieve so hard that we resurrect ghosts. And no matter how deep the pain, no matter how loud the silence they leave behind, we must learn to live forward. Zara lives quietly now. She teaches, smiles less, but more sincerely. She carries the weight of what she did, but she carries it with grace. I think she's found peace, or something close to it. As for me, I write. I talk to others caught in grief. I remind them that even if you had the power to rewrite everything, you might end up losing the very parts you were trying to save. Time doesn't owe us anything, but we owe it to ourselves to use what we're given well. One loop, one life, one chance. They say time heals everything. I used to think that was a lie, something people said to make pain sound poetic. But now, after everything, I think it's not about time healing us. It's about us learning to live alongside the scars. I spent 3 years trapped in a single Tuesday, not knowing why the world refused to move forward. I thought it was fate, punishment, madness. I thought love meant sacrifice, that if I endured long enough, she'd come back to me. But the truth? She never really left. She was always there, just reaching for someone else. And somehow, in all that chaos, I stopped asking her to turn around. I stopped needing to be chosen. And I started choosing myself. Zara gave me many things: love, heartbreak, truth, and the deepest kind of betrayal. But she also gave me something she never intended: clarity. In 1,000 versions of this story, maybe she saved Rian. Maybe she erased me. Maybe she died trying. But in this one, the only one that Matazai lived, I endured. I saw her for who she truly was, and I let her go. Now, every time I wake up, I feel grateful. Grateful that I don't know what comes next. That time moves forward like it should. Unpredictable. Unrepeatable. Honest. That's what life is, after all. A single, fragile thread. You don't rewind it. You don't remake it. You just hold on, breathe deep, and walk through it one irreversible step at a time.